World War I, one of the bloodiest wars in the history of mankind, which resulted in the death of millions of people and the injury of 10 millions of people, has been a period of intense tragedies as well as very strange events, destroying cities and destroying countries. World War I, the war in which the political maps of the world were redrawn, in which tens of millions of civilians were killed by genocide and massacres, with the deaths of millions of soldiers. As it is known, the Sarajevo assassination, which attracts attention as the event that started the First World War, took place on June 28, 1914. The assassination of Francis Ferdinand, the Crown Prince of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, by Gavrilo Princip, a Serbian nationalist, during a trip to Sarajevo, sparked the First World War. In fact, there were 4 unsuccessful assassination attempts against Francis Ferdinand on the same day and in the same place, and the 5th assassination was successful. World War I, or the First World War, also known as the Great War, was a global conflict between 2 coalitions, the Allies, or Entente, and the Central Powers. Fighting took place mainly in Europe and the Middle East, as well as in parts of Africa and the Asia-Pacific, and in Europe was characterized by trench warfare and the use of artillery, machine guns, and chemical weapons. World War I was one of the deadliest conflicts in history, resulting in an estimated 9 million military dead and 23 million wounded, plus up to 8 million civilian deaths from causes including genocide, including the Armenian genocide. The movement of large numbers of troops and civilians was a major factor in spreading the Spanish flu pandemic, which killed millions. The First World War, which took its place in history as one of the world's bloodiest wars, brought more than one state face to face on many fronts. The spark of the First World War, which developed due to many reasons such as the arms race between states and colonial activities, was ignited in the Balkans. On April 2, 1917, America, which tried to maintain its neutrality until it declared war on Germany, but in fact was an indirect supporter of the Allied powers with its arms sales to the Allied powers since the beginning of the war, changed the course of this war in favor of the Allied powers. The current state of the American Air Force, which changed the course of World War I after the declaration of war on Germany, was in a deplorable state compared to its rivals and allies at the time, even though more than 100 years had passed since then. When the war began in Europe, the United States military had very few airplanes, only 6 airplanes, and 14 trained pilots, were available for use. Conversely, France's military had 260 airplanes and 171 pilots, Germany 46 airplanes and 52 pilots, and the UK 29 airplanes and 88 pilots. Congressional appropriations for aviation were also much lower than government appropriations in other countries. While the French Parliament provided the equivalent of $7,400,000 in 1913, and the German Reichstag $5 million, the U.S. Congress provided a mere $125,000, less even than the $400,000 that Mexico devoted to aviation. 1.